Hello. I don't know how many of you have listened to the Archaix live on time travel, and thank you, Lana, for alerting me to that. So I listened all the way through. And effectively, it's exactly the same, to put it in a Neville Goddard interpretation, that you remember the future. There is a fluidity in the material and the physical sense. That's the brain fluid. But in the metaphysical, the greater unseen part of everything, it's a stream that is unlike water in the physical that will impede your progress. There is no resistance. Certainly you've got the law of attraction. That's like a first step to bring something towards you, but in that it's an acknowledgement that you still have lack of. So it is far better to go right to the end and remember the future. And this is a perfect example. I hadn't spotted this until listening to Jason. And the title of the video, Time Travel. If we think of it in terms of that sort of famous quote, Muhammad doesn't go to the mountain comes to Muhammad. So it's the perception of time that dissolves. You're not physically traveling anywhere. It's exactly the same as Alan Watts describes it. Life is a dance. It's not about getting from A to B. It's being in the moment, being in the present, enjoying the experience of the dance. Now, going with what a lot of channels are indicating, Levette has mentioned about a new cosmology. Adrian Elise is talking about we're going into the Aquarian age. You can interpret this on an individual level. You can interpret this on a collective level. And then there's also the Archaix data, which would indicate 2040. Now, if you run with the idea that the whole world is a stage, you could see a story unfolding like a drama in the classical music sense. So an opera will have an overture, a music drama will have a prelude. So I feel what we're going into is a prelude period. Something that has intrigued me greatly has been this whole idea of a pole shift. And it came into the mind about Chinese astrology. So I looked at the patterns of this. And there's 12. You've got, I'm sure you've heard the terms Year of the Rat, or Year of the Tiger. We're currently in, or about to enter the Year of the Wood Dragon. So anyway, the order runs rat, ox, tiger. Now it says rabbit, but it was cat, and certainly from my observations, those born in what would be a rabbit year actually portray more characteristics you'd associate with cat. Then there's dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. So looking at the idea of getting a new pole star, I thought, let's have a look at what we've got using this Chinese astrology. So if we take the 11th one, Year of the Dog, so that corresponds as being the dog star. So then I looked at in a way with Western astrology, so with the zodiac. So if I was to go earth sign to earth sign, say Capricorn to Taurus, I'm passing by 3 other signs, 3 other elements. So I looked at this to see if there was some sort of discernible pattern, and this is part of the reason I'm making this video, because it's a question I wish to put to any of you that I feel will have a far greater knowledge, things you've read that may, collectively, we could come up with a possible answer to this. So you've got dog, then you go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places to the dragon. So that would go with Draconis, which was the old pole star, the eye of the dragon. So there's 6 spaces. Now, there's 12 Chinese astrology years. So that would, if it was going to be 6 movements every time, it would just go between the dragon and the dog. Now I'm wondering if, because it has moved 6 places to the dog star, that tallies with the 6th chakra, the mind's eye. This coming of Christ consciousness where the conscious mind is fully active. I feel it may correspond with that. So if we were then to go back from Draconis, we'd go back 5 places. That would bring us to the pig. So I don't know if any of you have come across, in some remote time period outside of any sort of history of any form, whether there is any indication of anything written that would suggest that there was a constellation associated with a pig that may have been the pole star. And if that is the pattern of it increases by 1 sign with every change, then perhaps we could then predict from that what the next one could possibly be, which would come out as snake. So could it be that the new pole star will be a constellation associated with a snake? If this could be worked out to a point of beyond reasonable doubt, I feel that it may open up an insight into what this new cosmology will bring, what zodiac signs may come from it. Now, bearing in mind everything is said to reduce by a third, so on that basis I feel that we'll be looking at 9 zodiac signs instead of 12. But it's just pure speculation on this at the moment. But it's something I've mentioned before about how something is taken as literal, becomes material, and materializes in a literal sense. So let me give you an example of this. So here is a map, or just a schematic of Europe, which I hear in the word Europe, your hope. Now down here you have a region that was referred to as the Central Powers. So I feel what has been played out on the world stage in the material and the physical sense with world wars and things, and the destruction of the Central Powers, is showing a story of the very thing we need to overcome within ourselves, that being the 2 hemispheres of the brain, which are represented as the Western and the Eastern. And of course, you could say the left brain goes with the more left-wing politics, which would be communism, Bolshevism, and of course, this landmass just doesn't stop here. It becomes this vastness of Alaska. So it's almost like a physical representation of the subconscious, this murky sort of area that very few people would have any knowledge of what actually is there apart from what we're shown on maps. Note also, of the 3 Scandinavian countries, the one that always stands out you've only got to look at its stance of neutrality and the type of goods and things that Sweden will export, shall we say. So there's like a higher central power being sort of physically outplayed on the map sense. And if you look at this in terms of the metaphysical and seeing things from a higher perspective, look how this is materially played out, that we're looking at a man-made interpretation of land and sea masses. And we're looking from a higher perspective. We're looking as from above, but obviously it's a force above because it's a man-made plan. But behind that, of course, is a blueprint of a lot to do with this reality. As I have suggested before, what was developing between effectively the two Phoenix years of 1764 and 1902 was this bloom in the Central Powers region of Europe. And you could also include the leg and the foot, i.e. Italy. When we talk in terms of arts, poetry, writing, music, opera, paintings, right across the spectrum, there is a bloom, that there was a germ of many. And I feel what was emerging was something that could be compared to the philosophical age of Greece, ancient Greece. And it was an emerging reenactment, but the information and the deeper esoteric meanings of things were starting to be revealed at such a rapid rate that it caused a negative counterbalance that actually destroyed the Central Powers. But of course the Central Powers, as it were, have shifted, as it were, and also, don't forget, Sweden shares the first two letters of its nation name with another neutral country in Central Europe. So that's just a little thought-provoking on perceptions of this reality. And as a reminder again, also do ponder, search the depths of your mind, as it were, or just put the question into the mind and see what comes as a mind picture. It's the process of not thinking with the conscious mind, but allowing the process to happen, that the outpicturing or the answer will be given to you internally in the mind's eye. It will, the thing that you're looking for, or the thing that you seek, will be shown to you. It comes back to that seek the kingdom within and all will be given to you. And at this present time, I am once again in a position where I'm really having to test this. I don't like asking for donations. I would much prefer a reciprocal exchange in some way, an energetic exchange. There's the mentoring that I offer. There's healing and things as well. So I'd rather that than keep asking for people's generosity and forge my own way forward, which I am working towards every day, basically. But such is the situation in the physical that it has its challenges. The remoteness of the place is one of them. But it's just keep going with that gut feeling of what feels right. And I'm really just proving this to myself and then sharing my experiences of saying, well, hey, look, what you've been told about this reality is far from the truth. There's a far greater reality that is mostly in the unseen, but does and can become manifest. the key is not whether you can or can't manifest. The key is what polarity are you on, or are you remaining neutral? Because whichever way you'd lean, whichever polarity you'd lean to would cause an imbalance. So it's always about coming back to the present, always coming back to the center every time. And the easiest way to do that is to stop, relax, slow, deep breaths, bring yourself back to center. With practice, in those moments, and those moments go to make up more than just a moment in a sequence of moments, a bit like a film strip, and then when it's run through a lens, it forms an animated picture. If you can be as much as you can in the present moment all the time, what you'll find is all the things that are set in place to dis-ease you and cause you anxiety, cause you negative feelings, or causing you to generate negative feelings would be probably more accurate, and to generate a negative energy in this interactive field, it has implications that ripple out to the external that then reflect back. So it's for your own benefit. It is so important to bring yourself back to center, bring yourself back to balance, and then you'll see over a period of time those worries and fears and anxieties do start to lessen in their effect in feeling inside oneself. That to me says it's a step in the right direction, and to keep going with this and just keep pushing through with this. So I hope that has been an inspiration or opened up something, even about a simple saying like time travel and how we interpret it, and then what we don't hear in time travel. It's not us that's traveling. We're not going anywhere. We are at the center. It is all external of us, but we can move through it with a fluidity that is not impeded as it would be as if in water in the physical world. It moves into a very different world of spirit, no less real than this reality that your 5 external senses are detecting as real. So I think we'll leave that there. There's plenty to ponder. Hopefully that has helped some of you out there, and I'll put the link in the description to Jason's video on time travel.